Imagine steampunk without the gears, cyberpunk without the neon, and instead salt rust and crushing water pressure. That's the pitch of Abyssus, a self-proclaimed Brinepunk FPS roguelike from DoubleMoose Games and the Arcade crew. It's a game that mixes saltwater dread with fast-paced shooting, MMO-style boss fights, and a co-op loop designed for up to 4 players. So does Abyssus nail its identity as a fresh spin on roguelike shooters, or does it drown in repetition? Let's dive in. You play as a brine hunter, deep-sea mercenaries in chunky diving suits following a mysterious signal into the abyss. The narrative is light, mostly scraps of notes and journals scattered across runs. But the atmosphere is what sells it. Dripping pipes, bioluminescent plants, skeletal sea monsters, and the constant creak of your diving suit. Reviewers compared the vibe to BioShock, only stripped of its retrofuturism and dunked into cosmic horror. It feels oppressive, and that works in Abyssus' favor. The loop is pure roguelike. Each run starts in a hub where you choose weapons and abilities. There's no class system, you're free to mix assault rifles, revolvers, or even weird tools like anchors and turrets. Weapons have both primary and secondary fire modes, and unlocks trickle in through achievements and progression. From there, you dive into handcrafted arenas strung together procedurally. Think 64 bespoke maps, shuffled in different orders, structured, but not endlessly varied. Combat carries the game. The shooting feels tight, and there's a surprising variety of elemental blessings that change how you fight. Fire burns, ice freezes, lightning arcs between enemies, shadows debuff, and my personal favorite, tentacles that literally chuck rocks at enemies. Add turrets, nicknamed Terries by some players, and suddenly Abyssus starts to feel like a chaotic underwater Risk of Rain 2. But difficulty balance is strange. Solo play is almost too easy. You breeze through enemies, gunfire tearing them apart before they can overwhelm you. Jump into co-op though, and suddenly it's punishing. More enemies, tankier health bars, and chaos that sometimes crosses from challenging into frustrating. Reviewers consistently pointed out the spike in difficulty between single-player and multiplayer as a real design flaw. Boss fights, though, are highlights. These aren't just bullet sponges, they borrow from MMOs with massive AoE attacks, invulnerability phases, and arena hazards that force players to adapt. Facing these monsters in co-op feels frantic, tense, and fun. In solo, they're still good, but the sense of scale hits harder when 4 divers are scrambling to survive. Progression comes through both in-run upgrades and meta unlocks. You'll spend currency earned from each dive to permanently expand your arsenal, new abilities, damage buffs, extra charges, healing stations, and more. In the moment, elemental blessings let you experiment with builds, creating synergies between your loadout and your team. Fire plus lightning, shadow plus turrets, Abyssus shines brightest when you're discovering nasty combos with your friends. Unfortunately, repetition sets in quickly. Handcrafted arenas lose novelty after a dozen runs. Objectives like stand on plates, avoid damage for a depth, or destroy crystals don't meaningfully change how you play. Lore notes repeat endlessly, robbing the world of mystery. Compared to roguelikes like Returnal or Hades, Abyssus feels safe, structured, even predictable. That doesn't mean it's bad, just limited. Reviews from across the board agree. The core gunplay is fun, the atmosphere is unique, and progression is satisfying. But variety is lacking. Environments recycle quickly, weapons feel unevenly balanced, and objectives don't push creativity. Where Gunfire Reborn thrives on wild build diversity, Abyssus plays things a bit too straight. Visually, it's solid for an indie. Mesoamerican-inspired ruins, skeletal fish, and glowing flora create a unique look, even if levels blur together after a while. Audio is mixed, guns sound punchy, but the soundtrack is almost non-existent. Reviewers joke that when the best music is your teammates harmonizing sea shanties, something's missing. Performance-wise, Abyssus runs fine, with only occasional crashes noted. On PC, frame rates hold steady even in chaotic firefights. That said, expect the usual indie quirks, typos, jank, and the occasional bugged enemy pathfinding. So where does Abyssus land? On one hand, it's a fresh take on roguelike shooters. The Brinepunk aesthetic is memorable, boss fights are intense, and elemental blessings encourage fun experimentation. On the other hand, it's a game that plays its cards too safely. Once you've seen its handcrafted levels a few times, the magic fades and the repetition sets in. If you're looking for a new co-op shooter to play with friends and don't mind some rough edges, Abyssus is worth the plunge. But if you're chasing the depth and replayability of genre heavyweights like Hades, Risk of Rain 2 or Returnal, this one might leave you floating on the surface. At Veteran Game, here's the verdict. Abyssus is a stylish, salty shooter that entertains, but doesn't evolve. A good dive for a weekend, but maybe not the deep-sea obsession it wants to be. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think roguelikes should lean more into experimental builds and chaos, or keep things structured like Abyssus? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you've ever cursed at water levels in games, smash that like button. For more deep dives into indie roguelikes and weird subgenre experiments, don't forget to subscribe to Veteran Game.